All right, Elliot, we'll see what the Canucks and Oilers can do for an encore here tonight at Rexall Place. The Canucks arriving about 2 hours before tonight's game with a very young cast of prospects. The Oilers beginning 3 games in 4 nights here in the preseason as crunch time arrives at training camp. We've got an icing call right off the bat here. Eddie Lack will start for the Canucks tonight. The tall Swede ready to begin his NHL career, backing up Roberto Luongo. He's allowed 2 goals on 27 shots so far in the preseason. There's Jason LaBarbera, poised to play the backup role in Edmonton behind Devin Dubnyk, the former Canuck and Burnaby native, getting the start here tonight. Alex Edler chips it in. There's Jannik Hansen, a shot right on and a blocker save as LaBarbera is tested right away. Oilers starting the Hall line tonight with Ryan Smith and Alesh Hemsky. Hall, of course, continuing that experiment at center with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins expected to be out until at least the beginning of November, recovering from shoulder surgery. Here's Jordan Eberle setting up inside the Canucks zone. Anton Belov, the flashy Russian, the top defenseman from the KHL last year, getting his first taste of NHL preseason hockey tonight, playing on a pairing with Grebishkov, fellow Russian, who chips it down the ice. And Andrew Alberts won't get there as the hybrid icing is invoked here tonight.
Mark, we've heard a lot about Darnell Nurse, the promising young defenseman to Edmonton Oilers. And take a look at the confidence right here, Mark. Cross-ice pass right in your own zone, tape to tape. Then heading up ice. Once again, head up, tape to tape. That's how you earn a spot in the National Hockey League.
18-year-old Sault Ste. Marie Greyhound making it very difficult on Dallas Aikens to send him back to junior the way he's been playing.
And Aikens liked that. He thought, this is good, make it hard on us.
Played in that 4-1 win Wednesday at Vancouver over the Canucks. And here comes Santorelli dashing in the zone. A shot, scores! It gets through the paraphernalia of LaBarbera. And Santorelli opens the scoring for the Canucks.
Santorelli, who I thought played a really strong game last time the Canucks played the Oilers, gets this goal right here, just using his speed. Gives up the big-bodied goaltender and typically smothers everything of that nature.
Santorelli, the Vancouver native, who was a waiver wire signing by the Jets late last season after Florida gave up on him, decided to sign a two-way deal with the Canucks this year. And he's on the board for Vancouver here tonight in Edmonton. He had 20 goals playing on a line in Florida with David Booth in the 2010-2011 season. So potential there to be a 20-goal man again, perhaps. Fighting for that third-line center spot. Alvarez with a high, hard shot that comes around to the right point. Hansen drives it right back in. Neil Yakupov quickly pouncing on it for Edmonton. Ahead to Ryan Hamilton, the former Marley, trying to find a role here with his former Marley coach, Dallas Aikens, in Edmonton.
Former captain in Toronto with the Marlies.
Big body, power forward, and the Oilers, they need side, no question about that. Kunkaruk centering for Higgins, banging away. You could hear the iron ring as they push and shove after the whistle. John Tortorella is behind the bench for the first time as Canucks head coach after spending the first 2 preseason games up high getting a look at his talent.
Which I think is a good idea. I know he is under some criticism for that, but I know, Mark, that Al Arbour used to do that early on in preseason and gives you a great vantage point to see what you have.
Kelly was telling us before the game, being an Eastern coach, how tough it is to get to know his players. Get to know these Canucks. There's a loose puck jamming away, and somehow it stays out. What an opportunity for Jannik Hansen. Chris Tanev picks up the puck and leads the rush for the Canucks the other way. Higgins to the line, dropping it for Hansen. He fires. It hits the leg of Ryan Jones and then goes on goal as LaBarbera will hold on for a whistle, but another hair-raising moment for the netminder.
Vancouver getting some good chances right here. Higgins goes hard to the net. Then Hansen right from behind LaBarbera. That might hit an Edmonton Oilers stick. I thought at first it hit the goalpost. It does hit the goalpost. I thought Ryan Jones may have got his stick in there.
Nurse took him down hard on the play, and from point-blank range, he hits the post. Hall rimming it around the boards. Yannick Weber, the former Montreal Canadian, trying to rekindle his career, is back first for the Canucks. Lined up by Hemsky, turns it over. Here's Hall holding the puck, looking for Grevishkov as he pinches from the point. In behind the net, Ryan Smith playing on that top line tonight in the left wing position, leaves it for Hemsky. Alex Hemsky, a saucer pass, and Belov's shot doesn't get through. It's blocked up high. Hunter Shekaret, the young first-round pick, made a big block there for the Canucks. Bo Horvat, the center. Zach Kassian tipping it, couldn't get it to go deep. Castillo losing control of the puck at the Edmonton line. Hall bouncing it around behind him. He's got a 2-on-1, and then he's absolutely level. But here's a backhand chance, forehand. Eberle stick handling in a phone booth. Eddie Lack manages to hold him at bay.
Taylor Hall showing that speed. That was unbelievable coming through the neutral zone. He knew that he had Sestito flat-footed, so he's just going to chip the puck by him. And then Albert steps up on Hall right there with the devastating hit. Probably shouldn't have gone for the hit because it led to this scoring chance right here. Eberle and Perron going to the net, and we know how dangerous Jordan Eberle is in tight with his lateral movement.
How about that hit by Alpers, though, who was really on the bubble, didn't get a contract till late August from the Canucks, and is in a battle for that number 6, number 7 defensive position in Vancouver.
I'm really surprised he took the chance, Mark, to go after Hall. Maybe it's because it's preseason. He knows he gets a free shot because that led to basically a 2-0.
Well, the Canucks have brought some big bodies here to Edmonton tonight. There's no question they're going to be physical. David Perron gets it down low. Eberle behind the net, centering in front for Gagne. And a save by Lack, who lost his stick. Perron rims it back around the boards, gets away from Gagne. Pinching now with Brad Hunt, chips it right in front. It goes through the crease. Perron on Sestito, comes back to the near side. Canucks finally get away from that forecheck pressure. And Sestito will dump it and chase it. Taylor Fadoon hassled, but manages to get it ahead. Perron to the right side. Eberle at the end of his shift will chip it in the zone. Oilers trying to get a change as Edler gets it off the glass. Back to the point. Petrie on goal. Off a shin pad in front. To the left side. Nurse swiftly across. Petrie to the high slot. It gets away from Ryan Hamilton. Along the boards. Weiss and Eberle digging for it. Hamilton in to help out. Tanev across to Edler. Back up the middle. And Kara is there to break it up for the Oilers as the Canucks get it back to the Edmonton line. Nurse in his own zone. Calmly throwing it back to his partner Petrie right through the slot though. Hansen on the forecheck. Nurse again pressed by Lane. A big 6'6" forward for the Canucks. A race for it. Here comes Yakupov for Edmonton. Shot and a blocker save by Eddie Lack. Yakupov still with the puck. Turning in the high slot. Drops it back. Jones down to the corner. Petrie in deep now from his blue line position. Will Acton battling behind the net. A bounce pass to the line. There's Petrie walking the line. Look for a seam. Throws it in traffic. And the Canucks will get it back to center. Hansen chipping it back in the Edmonton zone. Petrie with some time and space now as the Canucks do a full change. Petrie will leave it. Grevishkov setting up. Belov takes the pass. Back to his partner. Belov now entering the rush. Big scoring defenseman. Ahead. Ryan Smith on a breakaway. Down goes Black. The rebound jam. But play is whistled. Belov jumping in the play. Following it up. And again, the Oilers storming the ramparts of Eddie Lack.
Well, this is what Vancouver's hoping to see from Eddie Lack. This is what they're going to need from their backup goaltender if, in fact, he makes the team. Great save on Gagne. Yakupov gets a pretty easy chance right there for Lack. And then lastly, the Ryan Smith chance. Lack just showing great patience right here. You know, Mark, he only played 13 games last year with that left hip problem that he had. And so after getting surgery, he's ready to go. I know that he's got a more stringent stretching routine in his life right now, and that's going to certainly help.
It looked like Jordan Schrader got his hand on the puck in behind the goal line, but the whistle had already gone as he scooped it out behind Eddie Lack on Belov's attempt to get his first NHL goal in the preseason.
Pretty impressive play by Belov, huh? Join the rush.
Really good. Belov was saying he knew the NHL was good, but he didn't realize it was this good.
And that was after practice, not a game.
After practice is right. Taylor Hall, rink wide. Hemsky wires a shot. Lack makes the save for Vancouver. In behind the net. Smith bottled up by Alberts. Hall in to help out. He digs the puck free for Edmonton. Taylor Hall off a skate. Comes free to Dale Weiss. Taylor Fedun keeps it in play. Smith leaving it for Hemsky in front. Broken up on the play by Frank Corrado, but the Oilers maintain possession. Here comes Smith down low with Hemsky in the corner. A pass to the near side for Hall. Taylor Hall sidestepped hit. No, he didn't. Weiss got him with an elbow in the face and felled him quickly as the energy player for the Canucks gets the elbow up on the big star for Edmonton. We'll take a break here in Edmonton and sort it all out when we come back to Rexall Place.
Horvat is the first one to take a penalty right here, a hooking penalty on Hall. And then this is a pretty obvious shot to the head from Weiss on Taylor Hall. That's the second time the Canucks have gone after Taylor Hall. I wouldn't doubt it, Mark, if the Leafs will look at that one.
That looks like a suspendable headshot there. Hall, Eberle, and Gagne up front for Edmonton on this power play. Perron will play the left defense. And Yakupov at the right point. So 5 forwards on the ice on this 5-on-3 high-octane Oiler power play. So Horvat for hooking. And Dale Weiss is off for 2 minutes for a hit to the head. Now Gagne back to Yakupov into the skates of Gagne. Yakupov returns pass across for Perron. Down low, Jordan Eberle. Behind the net for Hall. Back to Eberle. Back and forth they go. It gets away from Hall. Racing for it. Keeps it away from Edler. Yakupov to Perron. Back to Yakupov. No shot yet of this power play. Perron to the circle. Eberle working it around. One-timer shot is high by Yakupov into the glass and all the way down the ice. Hansen racing for it. Yakupov is there first to break it up. No defenders on the ice on this first power play unit for Edmonton as Hall storms the line. Around Chris Higgins, setting it up. Back to the half wall. Perron, one-timer. Yakupov hits the net. Eddie Lack makes the save. Eberle back to the point at the circle. Down low, Hall can't make the return pass, and Alberts is there to send it the length of the ice.
Pretty good puck movement by the Oilers. They're still a little bit rusty. There's no question about it. When you have a 5-on-3, you should attack the net a little bit more, but I like the idea trying to set up the one-timers.
Hemsky now setting up. Back for Perron, in deep, down low. Stick in the lane there, breaks it up by Corrado. Back to the point, to the line. Pass comes right back. Wines fires. Hunt with a big shot that deflects off a stick and out of play. Brad Hunt getting a chance to play in the second power play unit tonight. Played a couple of years ago in Chicago under Craig McTavish, now the general manager here in Edmonton.
Looking good. David Perron on that 5-on-3 has to be less predictable. He tried that backdoor play down low 4 times.
Smith loses the draw. It's kept in by Brad Hunt. Leaves it for Smith. Takes the return pass. Hunt across for Taylor Fedun to Hunt. A one-timer. Blocked up high by Santorelli. A good example of the kind of shot blocking that John Tortorella will expect this year from the Canucks. Stretch pass up the right side. It's behind Hemsky and he's offside. 1 second to go in the 5-on-3 power play for the Oilers.
Dallas Aikens this morning talking to us about some of the decisions that he's going to have to make. And I like his demeanor, Mark. Nice and relaxed and just talking about they have 6 or 7 forwards fighting for 3 spots here in these final 3 preseason games.
Yeah, he said a lot of players are following up his plans. He said, that's sort of a blueprint, but that keeps changing. Now we've got a fight in behind the play. It's Mike Brown and Dale Weiss. Perhaps trying to get Weiss to atone for that headshot on Taylor Hall. And then some jackhammers, and they both go to the ice.
That's a fourth liner's duty right there. When you take exception to the hit by Weiss to the head of Hall, you have to go out there, and unfortunately, it's whether you win or lose. It doesn't really matter, but you gain the respect of your teammates. So Weiss comes right out of the penalty box, and Mike Brown is right there to challenge him.
Mike Brown has gone all roly fingers with the mustache.
I like it.
But he's one of those fourth liners that Dallas Eakins was saying, I hope they put the fear of God in opponents when they come over the board. That's what I want for my fourth line this year.
Absolutely.
And Weiss.
Do you think we need to explain who Rolly Fingers is to some of our younger audience?
Perhaps a great pitcher back to the Oakland A's who had one of the great mustaches.
Reliever.
Needed the mustache to
didn't he?
Work on those tips, and he's got it going here tonight, doesn't he?
I like it.
Kellen Lane gets thrown out of the circle. Zach Kassian will go off against Will Acton, who wins the draw. Back to Nurse. Darnell Nurse up the middle. Tipped by Acton, the son of Keith Acton, the associate coach of the Oilers this year, and a former Stanley Cup champion back in 1988. Acton trying to find his way to the NHL through Edmonton. Vestito chipping to the left side. Jan Sauvé going around Petrie, but Petrie with good angle on him and takes him hard into the boards. It comes back to Sauvé, flipping it behind the net. Zach Kassian chips it in front. Shot right on goal by Sauvé, who's in deep. Yannick Weber to the near boards. Kassian across, one-timer by Weber. He's got a good shot, but it's blocked up high. Loose puck to Kassian. Zach Kassian along the boards, has it taken away, and Petrie heads up ice. Rink wide to the left side. It's in behind Ryan Jones. Regrouping now. Nurse back to center. Petrie hit hard by Edler. He goes head first into the boards. Smith passes in behind Nurse, feeling some pressure there. Horvat pressing him. Former OHLers going at it. We'll get a whistle in behind the play in a face-off in the Oilers zone. Nurse looks like he's a bit injured as he heads off the ice here in Edmonton. Oilers bench, after a bad pass by Ryan Smith, put him in a prone position, and he took a hard hit from Bo Horvat right here.
Yeah, Ryan Smith was, I think, afraid of that cross-ice pass in his own zone, so he put the puck behind Horvat, or Nurse, I'm sorry, and then Horvat just comes in with a clean check, but catches Nurse awkwardly.
Nurse appears to be favoring his shoulder or his arm as they continue to work on him, but he stays on the Oiler bench.
I think that's just a little precautionary to make sure his neck's okay.
This kid has been so good, so calm. Took on the Sedins Wednesday night. Didn't give him any respect, and Eakins was just raving about his play. And
especially, and he made a point, an example of saying, and that is important when it's the Sedins, because you can be intimidated by them.
Here's a 2-on-1 now. Hemsky up ice. Dishes it across the ball, and he fans on the one-timer. Smith bunching up in the boards with Hemsky. Puck comes free to Chris Tanev for Vancouver. Tanev off the stick of Hall and out of play.
Ryan Smith makes a heck of a play to spring Hemsky and Hall on this 2-on-1, and Hemsky just can't make a good pass on this play to Hall. But I like the chances this line are generating with Hall in the middle. So far, he's looked pretty good. I think he's adapting well to the change from the wing.
Jordan Schrader wins the draw, playing his first preseason game this year. Coming back after shoulder surgery in the summer that took 3.5, nearly 4 months of rehab. Another first-round pick that the Canucks are hoping will blossom this year. Here's a race for the puck. Eberle gets there ahead of Elberts. Elberts runs Eberle hard into the boards, and a mismatch of size and strength there. Belloff pinching. Canucks, though, get it out. It's scooped up in the neutral zone. Zepishkov turning away from Santorelli. Perron picks up the loose puck and plays it deeper in the zone. Belloff takes a hit from Schrader, and the Oilers will get it off the glass and out. And it's tipped out of play at the Oiler bench.
Andrew Alberts isn't known for his foot speed, but boy, does he do a good job here where it looked like Eberle was going to win the race. and doing what he does best, Alberts, and that's play a physical game. You know, he really is one of the guys that just through sheer hard work and determination has forged a pretty good NHL career for himself.
32-year-old veteran signing a one-year deal for $600,000, half of what they paid him last year. And we mentioned earlier, he can find out until late August that he'll be re-signing.
And he's one of the lucky ones, Mark, because there are a lot of guys without work right now. So take a pay cut like that, but you're still in the game.
This new cap is putting a lot of pressure on veteran players. Of course, his wife Kelly pregnant and expecting their first child, and they weren't sure where they were going to live. But there was a lot of uncertainty in his family life until he signed.
People will notice if he keeps playing like this.
Kara chipping it in the zone for Edmonton. And a whistle. Play coming back outside.
Looks like Yannick Hansen's going to get a penalty for hooking.
It's a hooking call.
Okay, I thought there might have been a penalty because I saw LaBarbera racing to the bench. Well, there it is right there. He gets a stick right into the midsection on Hamilton.
So Edmonton going back on the power play. One shot on their last power play, a 5-on-3. So Hansen is off for hooking at 11:48. LaBarbera backing behind his net. Gingerly gets it around to Belov. Drops it back for Grebeshkov. Hemsky and Hall up front along with Ryan Smith. Here comes Taylor Hall. Pass hits Higgins. Canada takes him out of the play. Gets it quickly ahead to Brendan Gauntz. Then headman to Higgins. Here comes Edler jumping in the play shorthanded. Higgins losing control of the puck. It's his first preseason game. Back comes Smith to Hall. Hall pinched along the boards by Edler. Loose puck back to Hall, taken away by Zach Kassian. And Kassian will send it back down the ice. Eberle and Gagne, along with Yakupov, back on the ice. Hunt at the left point. Brad Hunt, the minor leaguer from Bemidji State, rims it all the way around the boards. Yakupov feeds it through the slot. It's broken up and kept in at the line by Yakupov. Here comes Jordan Eberle attacking the net. Perron in front, one-timer scores! Sam Gagne for Edmonton! On the power play to tie it at 1.
No surprise this line's going to get a lot of chances tonight. That's just a lot of skill in a preseason game on one line with Eberle, Gagne, and Perron. Perron right here feathers a beautiful pass over to the stick of Alberts, right onto the tape. Right here. I mean, that's a pretty good pass right there. Gagne's going to bury that quite a few times. I think if this line sticks together, depending on what shakes out with Ryan Nugent and Hopkins coming out and whether Taylor Hall stays in the middle, this is going to be a pretty dangerous line if they find that chemistry like they have shown so far.
Well, the Oilers have big hopes for Perron to add some grit to their top 6. Coming in that trade for Magnus Payarvi and a second-round pick with St. Louis. Chikara gets it deep to Horvat, banging with Schrader. It comes free to Ryan Jones. Jones, who missed the first month of last season after suffering an eye injury playing pickup in the lockout, trying to redeem himself and show the faith the Oilers have shown in him is going to pay off. So it's Gagne from Perron and Eberle on the power play at 12:59 to tie it at 1 here in the first period. Back comes Weber, backhand shot. That just missed. It may have hit the post. Here comes Jones the other way in transition. Kara jumping into the play. Jones stiffed by Edler. Kara can't get it in front. Now Yakupov fiddling with the puck. Schrader throws it around the boards. Pinching is Brad Hunt. Hunt, another one of those puck-moving defensemen, showing his versatility and his speed. Hamilton to the right side, and they enter the zone again. Long shot at Lack will hold on for a whistle, and Weber pushing and shoving after the play with Hamilton as they get their sticks up. We'll take a break and come back to Rexall Place in a 1-1 game, Oilers and Canucks.
Welcome back to Edmonton. Already some animosity between these two teams. The Vancouver Canucks bench is less one man. Danish Chospek, Nicholas Jensen has left the game with an undisclosed injury, won't be returning. And when you take a look at the Edmonton Oilers bench, well, there's no head coach, Dallas Eakins. We heard that he's somewhere in the building, probably in the press box, watching the game. This is something he actually did when he was also an assistant coach with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And, of course, Vancouver head coach John Tortorella did the exact same thing for the first two preseason games. Gentlemen.
So Tortorella is down on the bench tonight, and Dallas Eakins getting the eye-in-the-sky look at his young players. The Canucks, of course, coming with a very young team here tonight. With no Sedins, no Kessler, no Burrows, no Bieksa, no Hanus. In fact, the Canucks left, Kelly, about $50 million in payroll back home tonight.
Well, they sure shown up with great energy, though. That accounts for a lot.
Here's Chris Higgins, one of the veterans who played for John Tortorella in New York. Gets a shot on goal, and LaBarbera will hold on.
Jason LaBarbera is trying to make a name for himself here. It's always a battle when you move to a new city and, you're trying to show the management what you can do. But it hasn't been a very easy first period for him. He's shown a little bit of nerves, bobbling most of the shots just prior to going to break. In fact, Yannick Weber from a bad angle rang one off the post. So this is a period that Jason wants to get through and get settled in.
Loose puck to center. Eberle has it taken away by Alberts. Alberts around the boards hard. Chipped out by Higgins. But David Perron is back first for Edmonton. Perron, who looks like he's over those concussion issues, played all 48 games last year for St. Louis and all 7 in the first round in the playoff. Now Gagne picks up the puck, flipped it in front. It goes high over top of the net. Eddie Lack had no idea where it was. Alberts ahead to Hansen, in behind Schrader. Loose puck is finally cleared by Hansen. Schrader at center, ahead to the line and sent into the zone by Hansen as Vancouver gets a change on the fly. Belov, hailed as the best defenseman in the KHL last year. The veteran trying to ply his trade. He signed a 2-way contract, said he's willing to go to Oklahoma City, but not for the whole year, to learn the North American game if that is what the Oilers decide for him.
At $70,000 in Oklahoma City when he was offered $3 million to stay in the KHL.
And Carrick shifty and gets a pass right through the goal mouth. Cassian in behind the net. Big forward has the puck knocked away. It comes to Santorelli. Got a chase for it. Brown is there first. Cassian covering him along the boards. Petrie trying to dig for it. Nurse is back on the ice for Edmonton, so that's a good sign as he pushes and battles along the boards. So no worse wear of what looked like a pretty painful shoulder injury on that hit in the corner by Bo Horvat. Carrick takes a big hit along the boards from Nurse. Loses the puck. Petrie leading the rush. Saucer pass to Brown, and he'll get it deep and head for a change. Ryan Hamilton on the forecheck. Sauve's pass all the way to center, bouncing off the boards as they race for it. Fadoun won't get there. And icing is called. Just a reminder, the Battle of the Blades season premiere is tomorrow night with a brand new cast of judges and athletes. It all begins at 8 Eastern, 8:30 in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Well, I think I know what I'm doing tomorrow. Mark, I'm watching Battle of the Blades again. I missed it when it was gone for a year.
Yes, a 1-year hiatus.
Yeah.
And back, and former Oiler involved this year.
Jason Strudwick.
Jason Strudwick.
And our good friend P.J. Stock is one of the judges.
Jamie Selle joining P.J. Stock.
Kurt Browning.
Kurt Browning, I believe, is the other judge. So along the boards, Gantz trying to cycle with Weiss. It comes back to Tanev, to Dale Weiss, to Tanev. Wrist shot low. It's stopped up high by Hunt, and he clears it ahead. Yakupov to Hamilton, onto the left side, and Kara dumps it in, but the Oilers are offside at the Vancouver blue line.
Jason LaBarbera's guy that's averaged more games than you think, Mark, playing in Phoenix the last 4 years with Mike Smith there. He's averaged 17 games this season, and that includes last year in a 48-game lockout. So this guy, for a backup, he can carry quite a few of the games for you.
Yeah, he didn't get a chance to play 2 years ago in Phoenix when Mike Smith was on that role, and they got 15 games last year. He had a .923 save percentage last year. It was like 11th best in the league.
Well, Jason really worked on his fitness after leaving Los Angeles. Now he's a real fit athlete and, of course, having better success.
And with Yan Denis signing that big, I think it's $325,000 contract to go to Adirondack in the AHL, the door was open for a backup here behind Devin Dubnyk. Castillo, rink-wide pass, gets away from Drevishkov and bounces right on goal. Well, Barbara steering it for Ryan Smith. Smith, a long stretch pass. Eberle trying to get around Edler. Edler on him all the way behind the net. But Eberle gets the puck to Gagne. He can't make a play. Hansen chipping it in behind Darnell Nurse. Here comes Schrader again, but it's blown down on that hybrid icing that you look we're seeing during the preseason here in the NHL.
Yeah, this is something that it looks like there's some support for it, and there's some people still that want to give it a little bit of time to see how it's going to work. But I really like the idea that you give the linesmen a little bit of the discretion so they can make that decision, or they have to make that decision at the face-off dot, whether it looks as though the attacker might be the defender to the puck.
Higgins dangling with the puck in front of Petrie. Gets it behind the net. Hansen leaves it for Schrader. He gets it back to Chris Tanev. Rink wide. Edler through. Traffic is deflected high and wide. Schrader caught behind the net. Nurse outlets. Saucer pass right on the stick of Perron, and Darnell Nurse jumps in the rush. In behind Edler. He's taken down on the play. In the corner, Tanev back to support. Chris Tanev swarmed on the forecheck. Gets it to Edler. The Canucks find their way out of the zone. Schrader to the line. Jannik Hansen, the durable Dane, turning in the corner here in the final minute of this first period. Back to Weber. Along the boards, and it's cleared back down the ice by Nurse. Lack, who's coming back after that hip surgery last year, says he's more flexible than ever.
Works at it on off days, too.
Cole Horvat, the dashing London Knight, can't get the shot through. Throws it back into the open slot. It's picked up by Fadoon. He'll carry it to center for Edmonton and chip it in behind the Vancouver D. Lack back around the boards. Edmonton on a change as the Canucks come back up the ice. 20 seconds to go here in the first period. Softly chipped into the zone. Horvat pestering Belov. Belov makes the play around the boards. Alberts fires it towards the net. It's blocked by Kara, who breaks his stick on the play. Yakupov jumping to center, loses his edge on the check by Alberts. And the horn sounds to end this opening period. Dallas Eakins and Craig McTavish, the head coach and GM of the Oilers, with Daryl Cates, the owner, up high tonight. Santorelli for Vancouver, Gagne for Edmonton. 1-1 after one. We are just over a week away from the start of the NHL season. Hockey Night in Canada kicks things off with NHL Face-Off. It's hockey tonight at 6:30 Eastern, followed by a doubleheader from Montreal and Edmonton, and Kings of Leon in concert to get us underway for 2013-2014. Second period straight ahead here at Rexall Place in Edmonton. In a 1-1 hockey game, San Gagne on the power play for Edmonton. Mike Santorelli opening the scoring at 1:20 in that first period for the Canucks. And we mentioned that Dallas Eakins is not on the bench tonight for Edmonton. He's actually in a private box with GM Craig McTavish and the team owner Daryl Cates.
Well, you know, the one thing when you're viewing from that vantage point, you can really focus on the players and not your coaching task at hand. So I think, you know, it gives you an opportunity to really focus on looking at the players you have and not worrying about running the bench.
Great chance to talk with the GM about personnel, and so many youngsters here tonight battling for third, fourth line roles, some depth on defense. As the Canucks head up ice, Jannik Hansen on the back end, pestered by Hemsky. A shot right on by Higgins as Hansen held off the check of Hemsky to make the play. Corrado to Edler. Back to center ice. Back pass on the back end goes right to Hansen from Schrader. He heads off for a change. Hansen tied up by Perron. The puck comes free to Eberle. Darnell Nurse flipping the puck to the line, knocked down by Alberts, brought in offside by Eberle, who was knocked to the ice by the big defender.
Well, the Canucks keeping up their physical play, which started early in the first period. Most of the defensemen getting involved in making sure that the Oilers are going to know, even though that this is a preseason game, that this is going to be exactly what the regular season is going to be like. Oilers knowing that it's going to be a physical game and that they have to become a grittier team throughout this season anyways.
The Canucks brought a heavy team, a young team with some big bodies here tonight as Horvat's shot deflects off the stick of Belov and out of play.
Mark, actually pretty good effort from these Vancouver Canucks. You and I were talking to John Tortorella before the game, and he was saying, yeah, we're a tired bunch. You know, we've worked basically only on fitness so far, nothing on systems. Yesterday was the first day where they worked on it a little bit, so getting a pretty good effort.
Went through a long chalk talk yesterday working on puck pressure and their forechecking in the Friday practice. Midway mark of the preseason for NHL teams. Tortorella also telling us, how difficult it is being a coach in New York and not getting a chance to see the Canucks and having to get used to not just their veterans, but all these young kids. He said he looked at 8 games before going to his job interview with Mike Gillis.
Well, it's one thing to look at games and so on, but until you really see the kids and or when you talk to people in your organization, you really don't get a really good grasp. Film's great, but it only tells you part of the story.
Here comes Nail Yakupov. He's got Gagne on the left side. Yakupov with a snapshot that misses and comes all the way back down the ice. Brad Hunt chasing it. The Steelers trying to take him down, but Hunt makes a play to get away from the check. It's flipped up by Hamilton. Back in the zone. Kara banging for the puck. It comes free. Hamilton looking for a seam. Tries to center. Hits the side of the Vancouver net. In behind the goal. Sauve headmans it through legs. Fadoon can't keep it in. And at center ice, the Oilers regroup. Jajar Kara shovels it on goal. The Michigan Tech player who's either headed for Everett in the WHL or Oklahoma City. Weiss, a shot off a skate. It comes to the side of the net. Nurse tying up his man in front. That was Corrado, or rather Santorelli, who was trying to make a play to the net. Back down ice. Weiss protecting the puck with Tanev. Mike Brown trying to stir it up. He's got Will Acton behind the net. It's chipped to the boards. Kept in by Petrie. Dumped back in by Jones. Jones chasing the puck. Edler is there. He's picked by Acton, who throws it to the far corner. Mike Brown tries to get it to the point. It's picked up by Kellen Lane. The big man at 6'6" runs roughshod. And we got a penalty coming here. An interference call.
Darnell Nurse caught flat-footed right here. Lane knew that he had a step or two on him. Just throw the puck behind him. And at that point, Nurse can't turn around, can't get any other way to get that puck, and unfortunately take the penalty.
So the Canucks get their first power play of this hockey game. Schrader centering Higgins on the left side. And Hansen on the right. Edler and Weber on the points. Hansen back to Edler. Fires through traffic. Pad save by LaBarbera, who picked that up at the last minute. And it's cleared down the ice. So the interference call to Nurse at 3:15. Weber bouncing it back to Edler. Edler puts it back to the netminder. And Eddie Lack shovels it behind the net. And Hemsky was there to break up the play. Here's a chance shorthanded now. Grebishkov fires looking for the tip. And Hall couldn't quite get his stick on it. Around the net, Lack looked a little awkward to get there.
In the first period, I was thinking to myself, boy, he looks pretty good handling the puck. This shift alone hasn't been very easy for him.
Now Weber, there's some poise. He's passed too far for Edler. Taylor Fadoon getting there first. What a remarkable return to hockey it's been for him last year in Oklahoma City after nearly making his team 2 years ago in Edmonton and then having a terrible broken leg. Here comes Fadoon. Right on. Hamilton rebounds. Perron scores. Short-handed goal for the Oilers to take a 2-1 lead.
Well, this one, Eddie Lack was thrown off because the puck was deflected, I believe, by his own defenseman right in front of him. Here the Oilers away. And at this point, we know how dangerous this line is. And right there, it was actually deflected, by the Oilers right in front. Hamilton, I thought it went off the Canucks. It just does, but it goes to Hamilton in front, and that's why Eddie Lack was a little bit fooled by it.
So Lack, who looked a little out of sorts, handling the puck, is beaten.
Those slow deflections can be harder than the hard ones.
Well, you're committed, right?
Right.
So David Perron has his first in an Oilers jersey here in the preseason. Short-handed marker. And a 2-1 lead for Edmonton. And Fadoon helping engage that play.
Yep.
Jumping out to lead the rush. Shinkaruk now trying to feed it in front. Petrie breaks it up, kept in by Corrado. Tanev can't get his pass through, hits a skate. Fadoon flips it, but not out. Corrado, no shot. Was back to Tanev. Patience, back to Corrado. Blast! Rebound right there! And cleared away from Zach Kassian. Kassian looking at it for an eternity, it seemed, right in the goal mouth. Here they come again. Kassian in. Drops it. Shinkaruk holding the puck. Fires it from a sharp angle. Hits a stanch and comes right back to Tanev, who gets it in deep. He'll go for a change. Play broken up by Darnell Nurse, who steps out of the box, and the Oilers back to full strength. Nurse's pass too far, but icing waved off, but Brown had a chance to get his stick on it. Corrado throws it to the near boards. Sestito back to Corrado. Flipping it to the line, kept in by Grebeshkov. The Russian veteran down low, Hall in front. Great stick play there by Weber to keep it from going in front of the Vancouver net. Bella pinching. Sestito gets it past him and down the ice, and Mike Brown is back to touch it, and icing is called.
Zach Kassian, he's going to score a little bit more this year. He's got to find the way to the front of the net, which he does on this play right here, and trying to get some of those rebounds. That one just slides away, but that's where he's got to position himself, and whether it's on the power play or with his line mates. Get to the front of the net, use that big body, maybe a little bit like Milan Lucic in Boston does. Similar kind of players, maybe not quite as skilled, but still awfully talented player.
Canucks with high expectations for Kassian, who won a Memorial Cup with Taylor Hall in Windsor back in 2010. There's Hall in the corner. Smith, sharp angle shot, hit the side of the net. In behind is Hemsky. Alex Hemsky to the point with it. Nurse quickly across the blue line to Petrie. Along the boards, Hall back to Petrie. Rink wide, Nurse to the circle in front, and it misses. Looking for Hall on the deflection. Back to center, back into the line. It's Petrie for Edmonton. Brian Smith tips it inside the zone. Weber sends it back to center. Oilers in transition. Eberle back in. Smith got back onside. Can't make a play though. Gauntz plays it ahead, and Santorelli gets it back to the Oiler line. Brad Hunt across to Darnell Nurse to Hunt. Hunt now will take it outside the Edmonton zone to center. That's a take by Santorelli. Eddie Lack out to play it around the board. Kept in by Gagne at the half wall. Perron pinched along the boards by Lane. It comes free, and it's brought up the left wing by Santorelli. Looking for that third line center job here in Vancouver. LaBarbera losing the puck. It comes to Gauntz, backhanding it through the slot. And a close call there for Edmonton. Tanev gets the puck ahead of Gagne. Kellen Lane leaves the puck. Santorelli back to the point. Blast by Edler is wide. Tanev pinching. Can't get the puck. It comes free to Eberle, to Gagne. Then on to Perron, and he's caught at center ice by Gauntz, and it's chipped back in by Lane. Canucks getting a change. Oilers will get it to center. Backpedaling is Frank Corrado across to Alberts, who had the most ice time for the Canucks in that first series, just over 7 minutes. A bounce to the boards. Schrader, pad save, and the shot right on. Jason LaBarbera dancing up the right wing with speed. Here comes Yakupov. His pass is in behind Ryan Hamilton. Hamilton battling with Alberts. Big men in along the boards behind the net. Grebeshkov in deep, centering pass off a stick. It comes right back to Grebeshkov. He winds and fires. Pad save by Eddie Lack. Schrader takes a hit from Yakupov, who explodes into the check. Here's a chance, a backhand. Whoa! Hamilton walking right in front for Edmonton. At the line, Schrader causing a disturbance. Can't make a play as the Oilers send it back in the zone. Mike Brown on the right side. A move around Alberts. Can't finish in front, but draws a penalty. Alberts headed to the penalty box as the fourth liner, Mike Brown, attacks the Vancouver net. Oilers on the power play when we come back.
Welcome back to Rexall Plays, where we're seeing a lot of this young 18-year-old Darnell Nurse, and that's because he's been impressing Dallas Eakins and the coaching staff, showing a lot of composure both on and off the ice. Now, he comes from a sporting family. His dad, Richard, played in the CFL. There's his uncle, Donovan McNabb, former quarterback in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles, who just had his jersey retired, the number 5, on Thursday. And Darnell said the reason why he's able to show so much more maturity is that he's been leaning heavily on his uncle during this training camp. In fact, he said he's called him at least 5 times to get his advice on how to be a pro athlete. Mark.
Yes, Andy, pretty good pro pedigree indeed for Darnell Nurse, the 18-year-old Sault Ste. Marie Greyhound who's made a good case in the early going of training camp. Here comes Taylor Hall on the power play. The Oilers 1 for 3 on the power play tonight. Sam Gagner scoring. Just 2 shots so far, though. The man advantage. Hemsky takes the pass at the circle. Down low. Taylor Hall trying to saucer it back to Petrie. And it's broken up by Brendan Gaunce, who'll get it down the ice.
Mark, the Oilers have made a goalie change during that last timeout. So Ty Rimmer has replaced Jason LaBarbera, that made 8 saves on 9 shots.
Rimmer, the Edmonton native, who was one of 3 goalies given a tryout during the Young Prospects tournament, but the only young goalie in that tournament to be invited to training camp. His dad grew up and is friends with Grant Fuhr. In fact, he wore some of Grant's old masks in minor hockey. This kid looks like he might have a crack at Bakersfield Condors in a backup role in the ECHL.
Good start. He played 3 years in the Western Hockey League with Prince George, with Tri-Cities, and with Lethbridge. I talked to him this morning when he found out that he's going to be playing. Are you nervous? Looked at me right in the eye and said, nope. And then, I believe him. He didn't look at it at all.
Good for him.
Yep.
A great thrill it must be to be playing in this building in an Oiler uniform here tonight. Brad Hunt swiftly across to Yakupov, back to Hunt, to Perron. Perron into the high slot. Yakupov, a howitzer shot. And a big save by Eddie Lack.
Well, in the first period, the Oilers were trying to find the one-timer with Yakupov. Looks like they're trying to get it here as well. This, by the way, is probably one of the best saves that Lack is going to make today with lots of traffic. And for a goalie out there, it's one thing to get your eyes used to the speed of the puck, but there's nothing like traffic, and you can't replicate that in your summer hockey and your practices leading into game action. And every goalie will tell you, once you start to get used to the traffic in front, then the game comes a little bit easier.
Gagner gets the draw to Yakupov. Along the boards. Perron back to the point. Brad Hunt walking the line, takes the saucer pass from Perron. Tipped in front. A great shot pass to Gagner. And another big save by Eddie Lack.
What vision by Hunt to find the player in front for that slap pass. Wow, that is a terrific play.
Continues to impress. Had 2 assists in his first game Wednesday night in Vancouver. And it showed great poise and offensive ability from the blue line for Edmonton. Sprague McTavish remembered him well from his stint in Chicago in the American League a couple of years ago. Here's Eberle towards the net. Schrader with a stick check. Eberle still on the puck. A one-timer by Perron sails wide. Sam Gagner turning in the corner. The Canucks back to full strength. Big pressure though. Yakupov back to the point. Grebishkov shot tipped in front. Eberle with a chance. He's knocked down by Weber. One-timer Yakupov. Down goes Schrader, blocking a shot. Yakupov in. Far side, one-timer Gagner. And down goes Eddie Lack as the puck sails high into the glass and out of play. Great pressure by the Oilers. And Schrader is still down on the ice. Shot blocking, raising its ugly head again early for the Canucks. Canucks first round pick from 09, Jordan Schrader being helped off the ice as you're looking live. Still injured and hurting after this block shot.
That Yakupov one-timer gets him. Mike Bernstein, the trainer for the Canucks during the break, was asking him, where is it? Is it the instep? Is it the ankle? And so they're trying to assess exactly where it is. When you take a shot like that, it's awfully difficult to really pinpoint where the location is because of the damage and the pain already. So Mike Bernstein right there giving John Tortorella the update.
Tortorella expecting his players to block more shots this year, part of their defensive posture in their own end. And it takes Schrader out of the game here in the second period. Schrader in his first appearance of the preseason after undergoing summer shoulder surgery, or a shoulder that just kept popping out of the socket. Belov gloves the puck and sends it right back in the Canucks zone. Canucks already without Niklas Jensen, who left early in the first period. He was a last-minute replacement for David Booth, who tweaked his groin in practice this morning in Vancouver. Gauntz, drop pass. Castito's shot sails wide. Edler on goal, paddle save by Rimmer. And his first save here tonight. And Edmonton back down ice. Jones got his stick up and hit the helmet of Edler, and he's going to get a high sticking penalty here as he was trying to make a play to chip the puck in the zone and chase it.
Just a reckless play by Jones when he's going by the defender, and he thinks he has a step on him, and he lifts his stick up in the air in an effort to get around him and flips Edler right here on the visor. And that's just a reckless play right there. There's no question that's a 2-minute penalty.
So a high sticking call against Ryan Jones at 11:46 here in the second period. The Canucks goes back on the power play as the Oilers' Hall gets it down the ice. Yannick Weber, who was a healthy scratch for much of last year before he injured his knee in Montreal, then lost his job to Diaz, Beaulieu, and Tenorti also got opportunities on that Montreal blue line.
Having an excellent game tonight, Mark.
Is he ever? Here comes Taylor Hall, and he's got a jump on Weber. His shot sails high and wide to the glove side and comes all the way back down into the Edmonton zone.
That's still good angling, though, by Weber. Taylor Hall did have the step on him.
Whoa, what a chance for Gagne, and I think Eddie Lack took that away with his stick. These Oilers have been dangerous shorthanded tonight. Already have one on the Perron goal.
No question. It looks like they have the green light to go. Dallas Aikens was telling us this morning that he wants some of his skilled players to kill penalties. Eddie Lack having trouble again in the second period handling the puck. That is just he's got to make a play quicker right there. It's just Weber. An excellent play by Weber, diving across and getting a stick on that before Gagne can throw it in the net.
The Canucks have had some hair-raising moments around their goal tonight. Tanev enters the zone. Kassian has his pass broken up by Grebeshkov. He'll send it the length of the ice slowly into the stick of Frank Corrado. Corrado leaving it for Tanev. Has to double back. Will Acton on the forecheck. Corrado trying to get going again. Back to center. Cantarelli rimming it around the boards in the Oilers zone. Kassian knocked off the puck by Belov. And the Canucks regrouping again. Shinkaruk settles the puck. Gets up the right side. Santorelli chips it back in. Shinkaruk is there first. Checked by Belov. Kassian on the puck to go on the boards. Acton trying to take it away. Grebeshkov with a busy stick in there. It comes free to Kassian. To the right point. Tanev. A shot pass through the slot, and it's broken up on the play by Grebeshkov. Corrado to Tanev. Fires! And a big save. Ty Rimmer coming to the top of his crease to make the stop for Edmonton.
That save just brought a nice smile to my face. The first save that Ty Rimmer has made in the National Hockey League. And here it is. A beauty. Off the stick of Tanev right here, and he gets good position. Rimmer does. Follows it right into the glove. Holds on to the rebound. I can tell you right now, that's a big sigh of relief when you make your first one.
Rimmer was the WHL first-team All-Star in 2011-2012 with Tri-City. Also played with Lethbridge, Brandon, and Prince George in the Western League. Final seconds, ticking off the clock, and now the Oilers are back to full strength as Jones steps out of the box and leaves it for David Perron. Perron gains the line. Still has the puck as Sauvé took out Gagne on the play. Sauvé's pass ahead to Sestito. To center. Caught on the back check, but manages to get it deep. Rimmer can't settle the puck. Bo Horvat in the corner, in front off a stick. Bouncing to the line and out as Alberts backs into the neutral zone. Alberts bouncing it back in the zone. Fedun, who is partner, takes the return pass. Manages to get it by Gauntz to Gagne up the left side. Eberle into the zone. Setting up. Hunt looking for the one-timer. It's broken up by Horvat. Back the other way. Shinkarik. A drag move trying to get around the young defenseman Nurse, who stays with him. It comes back to Edler. Tanev's shot is flubbed. Gauntz plays it behind the net right to Nurse. Nurse was lined up by Shinkarik, who gave him a little chin music on the way in. Back to center. It's chipped back to Tanev. Tanev to center and hammers it right back in. Gauntz around the boards. He's got 2 goals already in the preseason. Pinching is Tanev. A bouncing puck, steady to the line, picked up and scooped up by Taylor Hall. Hall dancing inside the line. Hall to the high slot. Eberle's shot is blocked up high. And a big play there by Edler. It comes free to Smith. Ryan Smith leaving it for Hall. Oilers now with all kinds of pressure. Hemsky can't get the puck to settle. To the far corner it goes. Hemsky chasing it for the Oilers. Feathers it back to the line. Petrie. Rink wide. Grebishkov. Shot pass. Hemsky. Wide open net. And he missed it.
Unbelievable play by Gauntz.
Grebishkov. Here comes Petrie trying to center. Gauntz stick in the lane. Breaks it up defensively for Vancouver. Hemsky. Grebishkov. Back pass to the wall. Here comes Hall. Fires. It's blocked up high. Another big shot block for the Canucks. And they'll relieve the pressure by sending it down the ice. And this will be icing.
As you said, Mark, Grebishkov with an amazing pass. He's been looking for this all night. He finds Hemsky, but Gauntz showing a real unbelievable defensive play for a young player to follow Hemsky to the net. And then Shinkarik and Nurse go at it, even though they're visiting before the game outside the dressing room. So these two certainly two competitors trying to make a name for themselves, and they don't have much time with just another week to go in the preseason.
We saw a shot of those guys chatting before the game in their suits down by the Zamboni entrance. The youngsters on full display, both clubs here tonight. But Hemsky's got to be mulling that one over in his mind. A wide open net, and he couldn't settle the puck.
Again, Gauntz showing an awareness defensively that you don't normally see from young players. So heads up play by him.
Canucks to call the timeout to try to regroup. The face-off to the right of Eddie Lack. Edmonton out shooting Vancouver 14-11. 3:59 to go here in the second period. Grebishkov is passed, broken up by Kellen Lane. It comes right to Gauntz. Up the left side to Chris Higgins. Higgins fires a shot off the trapper of Rimmer. It comes back inside the Canucks zone.
That was a good call by Tortorella, because even though the shots are 14-11 in front of the Oilers, you know, this game was starting to get away from them, from the Canucks just a little bit the last 5 minutes.
Terrific pressure by the Oilers. Pass for Yakupov. He's got it in front, trying to feed Ryan Hamilton. It was Yakupov getting in behind the defensive core there. Here's a backhand for Hamilton, showing his scoring ability. Higgins lugs it to center. Brad Hunt off the boards. Innocent legs. To Jarkara now. Across the line for Edmonton. Can't get the shot through. Santorelli feeds it across to Alberts. Alberts. Stretch pass to Higgins. Keeps it going inside the zone for Jannik Hansen. Hansen cut off at the pass by Brad Hunt. Santorelli back to Hansen, looking for the back pass. It doesn't get through. Hansen in close quarters along the boards with Sestito. Still with the puck now. Sestito tied up by Ryan Jones. Santorelli picking it up. Fedun for Edmonton. Back to Brad Hunt. Hunt with some room now will flip it. A long pass in behind Sauvé. Out to play it is Eddie Lack. Right to Mike Brown. Brown, who's looked good in short shifts. Limited ice time tonight for Edmonton. Jones back to the point. Kept in by Darnell Nurse. Jones behind the net for Brown. He leaves it, then chases it to the corners. Horvat is there first. Can't get it by Petrie. Petrie winds, fires. Blocker saved by Eddie Lack. Nurse is in deep. Plays it behind the net to Will Acton. Acton for David Perron. Perron and Eberle on the ice now. Perron fires. Big rebound. It's cleared by Sauvé, and the Canucks come back to center. Zach Kassian chipping it behind Petrie. Petrie angles him off the play, and Nurse scoops up the puck. His pass gets away from Acton. Edler at his own line, bouncing it through the neutral zone to Kassian. Ahead to Horvat. Carrick in front, tip right on, and pass saved by River. Eberle the other way as the game opens up again. Eberle and a whistle behind the play. Kassian standing over a prone Oiler. And looks like we've got some penalties coming behind the play. We'll check out the injured Oiler when we come back. Sam Gagner going off the ice with an injured mouth after taking a reckless high stick from Zach Kassian, who's in the box for 4 minutes.
Dangerous play there, Mark. You can see that Kassian misses Gagner by about 3 feet. And then just recklessly, as you said, throws a stick behind him. And then there's this other save by Rimmer. Great pass by Horvat to Shinkaruk. Rimmer, that's a big league save right there for the youngster.
So the Oilers back on the power play. They're 1 for 4 tonight, but in the back half of the second period, they've had huge momentum and pressure on the Canucks in their zone, forcing them to call a timeout.
John Tortorella did tell us so before the game, Mark, as you recall how tired his team is, and it's starting to show right now.
Well, all that conditioning, hard skating, early morning practices, the first half of the training camp may be taking a toll. Yakupov keeps it in. Final minute here of the second period. Nail Yakupov to the circle. Hemsky brings it back to the point, then takes the return pass. Trying to go down low to Hall. It's broken up by Edler. Hemsky back on the puck. Hall gets to his feet. Here's Grebishkov with a high, hard shot that goes over top of the net. In behind, Edler can't break it up. Hall goes to Hemsky along the boards, feeding Yakupov. Grebishkov backing, and now to the circle, to the half wall. Down low, back to the point. Yakupov to the right side. Hemsky fires a shot through traffic and misses the net. Grebishkov gets there, plays it off the boards. It gets away from Yakupov. Higgins on the puck for Vancouver, and he'll just kill some time and send it back in the zone.
I'm not sure if Gauntz is going to make the Canucks this year, but I can tell over time that John Tortorella is going to love this kind of player. Hard-nosed, excellent PK right there.
Back up ice, Eberle. Stick check by Corrado to stop him. 9 seconds, no time for Santorelli to get a shot away as the horn sounds to end this second period. A physical second period. Hall takes it on the chin. Perron has his first as an Oiler. It's 2-1 Edmonton. Rexall Place in Edmonton. And the third period straight ahead. 2-1 Oilers in front. And they'll start this third period with 2:32 remaining in their power play. And Zach Kassian in the box in that 4-minute double minor for high sticking. Sam Gagner, who has not returned to the Oilers bench. And we have received word from the Oilers that he will not return at this point in the third period after taking that high stick to the mouth. The Oilers special teams in full force here tonight with a power play goal by Gagner and a shorthanded marker, his third of the preseason, by David Perron. Here comes Hall. Puck bouncing on him. Hemsky tried to get it back to the centerman, and it's broken up. Jannik Hansen hustling across the Edmonton line. A shot, pad save, big rebound, corralled by Ryan Smith, who throws it to the boards. Smith starting it ahead to Hemsky. Hemsky gains the line. 3 Oiler forwards all bunched together on that attack. And Hansen will take the pass and take it back up the ice. Long shot right on. There's the rebound to Weiss. In behind the net. He'll throw it around the other way. Alberts is there for Vancouver. 1:40 to go in the power play for the Oilers. Yakupov bumps Weiss off the puck. Throws it to the right side. David Perron hustling, but stick check by Alberts, and it's back down the ice.
Here's one of the problems when you start the period on a power play. You don't take it as seriously as you need to, and apparently the Oilers haven't either in the start of this third, and they don't look very good right now.
Eberle missing on a soft shot. Belov to Perron. Back to Jordan Eberle. To the point. Belov to the right side. Petrie. To the near side. Eberle down low. Perron hits the side of the goal. Gets the puck right back. Bouncing it to a backpedaling Petrie. David Perron to the point. Anton Belov fires. And a save made by Eddie Lack through a screen as we go downstairs and rejoin Andy Petrella.
All right, thank you, Mark. Well, things have not started well for the Vancouver Canucks here as far as injuries go. First, it was Nicklas Jensen who gets injured, leaves the game with an undisclosed injury. There's the hit right there. And then in the second period, we saw Jordan Schrader take a puck off looks like his left foot there. He was not putting any pressure on that. In fact, I just saw him in the hallway right now. He does not have his equipment on with a very noticeable limp. David Booth also did not make the trip because of tightness in his groin. He hasn't played since March. Mark.
So the Canucks down 2 forwards to start this third period. Petrie lost the puck at the Vancouver line. Santorelli pouncing on it. He's all by himself. Here comes Yannick Weber. Weber in front. Oh, what a great chance. The defenseman jumping the rush. And stopped by Ty Rimmer, who's faced 3 great scoring chances so far tonight and a penalty. A slashing call coming to Edmonton's Ryan Jones.
Weber gets in behind Ryan Jones, and then Jones feels this is the only thing he can do to stop the scoring opportunity right here. But Weber has been very active this entire game, Mark, as you talked about. And Rimmer just staying low to the ice and trying to take away the bottom half of the net. Right there under pressure. Weber doesn't have the ability to lift the puck up and over Rimmer, but that's just because Rimmer had a good feel of where the puck was in relation to the stick angle of the blade of Weber, and that's why he made the great save.
23 seconds left in the penalty to Cassian. Flashing call to Jones. Shikarik around Brevishkov and gets the puck right through the crease. Eberle feeding Will Acton. He'll drift it down the ice in this 4-on-4 hockey, and that'll be icing. The face-off coming back in the Edmonton zone. But how about Yannick Weber? Has he not impressed Tortorella and company tonight?
Absolutely. Not only with his offensive abilities, but go back to the second period with that diving defensive play he made in front of Eddie Lack. So, sure, everybody's noticed the effort he's put in tonight.
Canucks get the draw. Santorelli getting it back to the point. Tanev broken up by Acton, and Grevishkov will get it to center. Acton, long shot, no rebound as Lack makes the save, and the penalty to Zach Cassian is over. And the Canucks now with 1:36 in a power play opportunity with Jones off for slashing.
Well, the Canucks answered our question before the start of the game, right, Mark? We asked them, is Eddie Lack playing the whole game, and they were unsure. They didn't know if Joe Canada was going to get in the third period, but they've made their choice. I think they feel that Eddie Lack needs this game. He played well in his first game against San Jose, so let him run with it.
Lack played the third period and held the Oilers scoreless in that 4-1 loss Wednesday night in Vancouver. Santorelli feeding the point. Edler with 3 shots already tonight. One that's blocked up high. Higgins with patience goes back to the point. Edler firing it through traffic high. Good shot into the glass though. And Smith with a wild swing can't get it out. Edler, rink wide pass into the glass, too high for Higgins. And Nurse lost control of the puck. Now Smith will try again. Feeding David Perron. He's stopped in the zone, and now it's shoveled down the ice by Petrie. Both teams changing on the fly. 50 seconds to go in this Vancouver power play. Corrado, another one of those defenders trying to work his way into the bottom pairing. Hansen across the line. A shot on goal, and Rimmer carefully holds on for a faceoff. Next week, an all-new season of George Stroumboulopoulos Tonight continues with guests Margaret Atwood and Joel Edgerton. Weeknights at 7 on CBC TV.
Well done, my friend. It's preseason for us, too.
Scrambling to find our notes. Bo Horvat facing Taylor Hall, former Windsor Spitfire against the London Knight. Oilers get possession and rim it around the boards. 30 seconds to go in the Canuck power play. Eddie Lack
Right here.
throws it around the boards. Corrado away from Hall, who lost his edge. But Hemsky scoops up the puck and kills more time. Hall turning, playing that center position again here tonight with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins still nursing that shoulder following summer surgery. Petrie hammers it down the ice, and that'll do it as Ryan Jones is back on the ice. The Oilers at full strength. Jones heading to the Edmonton bench. Hansen, his pass too far for Shinkaruk. He hustles but can't get there in time. Petrie knocked it back to center. Nurse breaks up the pass and throws it to an open wing. Jan Sauvé across to Andrew Alberts. His pass is set back in by Ryan Hamilton. Alberts in behind his net. Pressed on the forecheck. Turns the puck over. Yakupov in behind the net. In front. Looking for Kara, and it's sent back down the ice. Icing the call. 5 minutes into this third period.
One of the biggest things that Taylor Hall's going to have to work on a lot, and it wouldn't be any secret to anybody with this experiment going to center, is work on your face-offs. And this is a learned skill. It's a crafty thing to learn. There are lots of different ways whether you can cheat or get an advantage over the other guy. He's won 7 and lost 10 so far in tonight's game, and I'm sure there's a lot of homework going to be going into this project.
He's looked pretty good.
He has.
But Dallas Aikens was saying that, most of these young stars had, time at center in junior, minor hockey, so they're not all foreign to it.
I would agree.
Badoon keeps it in at the line. Back behind the net, Will Acton. Journeyman throws it to the corner. Round for Jones. Jones trying to come out in front. Getting support by Badoon. Badoon on the loose puck. Into the high slot. Backdoor chance, and Acton just misses on the one-timer. Badoon has it go off his helmet, and it's cleared down the ice by Weiss. Brown will leave it for Brad Hunt, who has looked so poised in his preseason opportunities for Edmonton. Up the wing, here comes Hall, storming inside the Canucks zone. In front for Eberle on the backhand, and he just misses. Zach Kassian takes the pass. Caught on the check by Perron. Hall goes down. 2-on-1 with Eberle. Hall can't find the handle. And a great stick check there by Eberle. Or rather Edler. At the point. Grebishkov fires off the leg of Tanev. Gloved by Eberle. Can't get the shot away as he's mugged in the slot. But fans don't like it. Testito took him down. Here comes Hall now. His pass broken up. Stick in the lane by Kassian. Down goes Perron. Edler gets his stick up. You could hear the shriek by Perron as he takes a stick in the face. The officials didn't see it as Perron takes exception to a stick in the face in the corner. We'll take a break here in Edmonton. Perron on the bench. He threw his head back. We thought he got hit in the face, but it looks like he got hurt in another serious region.
Well, I'm not sure if it's Testito or Edler that gets a stick somewhere in the body that caused the problem. Here's a great play right here by Badoon to Will Acton. He gets a good chance there. Goes back to the bench, and there's a proud father, the 26-year-old Will Acton. Keith, of course, longtime NHL star. I'm sure he's awfully proud of his son.
And what an opportunity that would be to coach your son as the associate coach here in Edmonton. Former Stanley Cup winner with Edmonton. Keith. Will has had 2 years with the Marlies. Repishkov's shot off the stick of Weber to the far boards. Clearing attempt was off another stick. Now Kellen Lane will get it down the ice. Flipping it inside the Oilers zone. Repishkov. The Belov. Bounce pass up the right wing. Here comes Ales Hemsky all by himself, leaving it for Smith at the line. Ryan Smith to the near boards. Throwing it off the blocker. It was going wide on Eddie Lack. Acton comes off the boards. Finds Darnell Nurse at the line. Stick check by Santorelli. Breaks that play up. Back come the Oilers. Smith chips it in the zone. Frank Corrado is back. Swiftly across to Hansen and out to center. Dumped into the zone by Higgins. Bounced by Rimmer. Right to Hansen. To Higgins. Checked by Ryan Hamilton. Petrie on the puck now. Good check by Higgins with his stick. It comes free. Acton ahead to Hamilton. It gets away from Alberts. Here comes Yakupov. Yakupov dancing with a little move. Tries to get away from the big defender. Here comes Hall across the line. Hall around Hansen. Bobbled the puck, but he's drawn a penalty. A delayed call coming here to Vancouver as Rimmer goes to the bench for an extra attacker. Hall setting it up to the point. Petrie far side. Yakupov a big blast. And Canucks get possession. And they're going to the box. It's Yannick Hansen for Vancouver.
And he knew right away. He went right to the penalty box. Here's the play right there. Gets a stick in the hands of Taylor Hall. There's no question that he has to serve 2 minutes or less, depending on what the Oilers do on this power play.
Hansen for hooking at 8:13. Oilers going back on the man advantage as we approach the midway mark of this third period. They're going to rest Hall. Smith coming off. Perron gets the draw with Eberle. Back to Hunt. Hunt turns the puck over. Santorelli. One-on-one. Down ice. Fires and just misses on the blocker side. Short-handed. Perron again. Across to Brad Hunt. Hunt to center. Rink wide to the right side. Chasing is Eberle. Lack out to play it off the boards. Into the skates of Jones. And fired down the ice by Edler. Edmonton 1 for 5 on the power play tonight. With 6 shots. The man advantage. Jordan Eberle to center for Edmonton. Backhands it to Jones, who leaves it for Brad Hunt. Hunt backing up. Corner. Around the boards. To the near side. Eberle waiting at the half wall. Beat checked by Weber, and Weber will get it down the ice. Another good play on defense for Yannick Weber.
Boy, I'll tell you what, this might be the best game I've seen Weber play.
Cut by Shinkaruk, a wide open net. Jack Cassian couldn't bury it. So they had a chance.
Wow!
Oilers dig the puck out. It's Hall. Up to Hemsky. Across the Vancouver line. Dropping it for Smith. For Hall down low. And stopped by Lack. Cassian along the backboards. With Smith, he kicks it ahead. Hall shovels it to the point. Grebishkov with Belov. Belov a shot, and that just misses. It comes all the way back to Hemsky. Hemsky at the circle, to the corner. Hall for Hemsky, reaching for it. Hall trying to get organized. Taylor Hall to the point. Grebishkov back to the centerman. Belov on the backside, and another big save by Lack and Weber. Mixing it up with Ryan Smith after the whistle. 12 seconds to go in the penalty to Hansen.
I said at the start of the third that the Oilers started that power play very lethargic. Here, 2 shorthanded chances right here with Santorelli right there. And then Rimmer gets caught in this opportunity. Cassian can't put it in from there, but total confusion. And that really started, if you ask me, at the start of the third, where the Oilers didn't take that power play they had seriously. And now they're scrambling when they have the man advantage right now. And Vancouver had 2 or 3 really good shorthanded opportunities on this power play alone.
Both penalty kill units tonight have had some good scoring chances. And, of course, the Oilers have 1 shorthanded, the David Perron goal. Kellen Lane, who's been terrific in the circle tonight, squaring off against Will Acton. 12 seconds left in the power play for Edmonton. They get the draw. Acton, Petrie fires. That's deflected off the goalpost. It hit something in front en route and then went out of play. Petrie with a wicked shot from the point.
That did hit something on the way, and Eddie Lack didn't see it. That may have hit the goalpost to the left of Eddie Lack and then gone out of play. Oh, it hits the crossbar. That was a shot right along the ice by Petrie, and it hit something along the way and hit the crossbar. No wonder Lack didn't move on that.
5 seconds to go in the power play. Acton getting a chance here. Again at center. Scrum draw. Hamilton got it to the point. Acton has it get by him. Brown in front off the paddle of Eddie Lack. Hansen's back on the ice. The Canucks to full strength. Edmonton 1 for 6 tonight on the power play now. Petrie in front for Darnell Nurse. Up the right side. It gets away from Brown. Down the ice, and this will be icing against Edmonton.
You've noted, Mark, how well Mike Brown has played for the Oilers in that third or fourth line role. Here's another example right here, just out muscling Andrew Albertson gets a chance, and Eddie Lack has to make a save. It's been a real energetic game by Mike Brown, including a fight.
Took on Dale Weiss after Weiss got the elbow up on Taylor Hall in the first period. Taking exception to that. Ben Eager not playing tonight. Another tough energy forward expected to make the fourth line for Edmonton this year. Weiss wins the draw cleanly, but it comes all the way down the ice between the defensive pair of Tanev and Edler.
And that fourth line will be important for Dallas Eakins' team, as he said this morning, that he wants, when they play the opposition, he wants them to know that that fourth line is out and it's going to be a hard shift.
This used to be a tough place to play, but it hasn't been in the last half dozen years. When Eakins wants to make it tough again. Horvat turning at the half boards, throws it into the corner. David Perron is there, flipping it along the boards, knocked down by Horvat. One of the youngsters trying to make this hockey club as an 18-year-old. Shot goes off the pad there as Edler went in deep. Tanev's behind the net with it. Horvat tied up along the boards. It comes free to Sestito. Interesting combinations here with the two injured Vancouver forwards. Edler's blast tipped high and gloved by Rimmer as they push and shove after the whistle again. 8:32 to go here in the third period. And the Oilers holding on to a 2-1 lead. Well, Dale Weiss got an unsportsmanlike penalty after that skirmish after the whistle in front.
He's not very happy about it either. And during the entire commercial timeout, he was complaining in the penalty box that he didn't think this was the right call.
Perron drifted him with a full right there in that scrum. And he's cut.
I think there's reason to be upset.
So Edmonton back in the power play. 1 for 6 tonight. Perron's power play goal. Or rather, Gagne's power play goal. Perron with a shorthanded marker. Hemsky to the backside. Yakupov feeding it in front. It's flipped and then cleared down the ice by Egan. Rimmer, who has looked awfully confident in goal here tonight, makes the play to Hemsky. He leaves the puck. Brad Hunt headmans for Hall at full speed. Hall dashing across the line, going wide on Weber. Gets the puck to the corner at the point. Brad Hunt steadies it. Yakupov in deep and fires a wrist shot that misses on the stick side. Yakupov at the half boards again. To the blue line. Hunt to the circle. Hemsky to the slot. Hall tries to go through the slot. It goes off the skate. Brad Hunt again. Back to Alesh Hemsky. Ryan Smith providing the screen in front. Hemsky can't find a lane for the puck. Goes back door. One-timer. Hall misses. At the point, Brad Hunt again to the circle. Yakupov attacks inside of Santorelli. Stops up to the point again. Hunt, backdoor. Hemsky in front. Yakupov stopped again, but they can't clear it. The Canucks can't. Higgins couldn't get it by Hunt. Here's Hemsky. Hemsky set up again at the circle, waiting patiently. Back to the point. Hunt. Yakupov down low. Now works his way back to the boards. Yakupov. Hall in front at the point. Hunt goes to Yakupov again. Rink wide. Hemsky looking for Hall. Broken up by Weber. Yakupov at the circle. And it hops over the stick of Hemsky, and it's cleared by Higgins. 5 seconds to go in the power play for Edmonton. One last rush with Weiss standing in the box. He's back on the ice. Drevishkov in. His pass just misses Eberle for the tip. Weiss chips it to center. Jannik Hansen across the line. Broken up On a good play there by Belov. Grebeshkov, outlet to Eberle. Dancing at center ice around Shinkarov. Perron back to Eberle. Eberle drags the puck. What a nice soft move. Feeds it back to the point. Petrie's shot glancing off the stick of Eddie Lack in behind the Vancouver goal. Hansen heading up the right wing again. Throws it to the left side. Belov is back smartly. It's to his partner Petrie. Petrie ahead to Perron. It went off his stick. Hansen broke it up, but it comes outside the line to center. Frank Corrado in traffic. Shinkarov chipping it behind Belov. Belov holds him at bay. Brown flips it to center off the chest of Ryan Jones. Jones gets it inside the line briefly, but back comes Vancouver. Jack Cassian one-on-one with the youngster Darnell Nurse. It comes free to the corner. Petrie. Lots of room as the Canucks back off. Send one forechecker in. That Shinkarov. Long pass. Will Acton. Ahead. Here comes Brown. Brown. Backhand pad save. Eddie Lack. Again, Mike Brown showing some offensive prowess here tonight on that fourth line. Ryan Jones leaves it. Throws it to the corner. Pinching is Taylor Fedun. It comes free to Jones. Jones tries to center. He's held at bay. A good play there by Corrado. Cassian along the boards with Fedun. He gets it behind the Canuck net to go. Again, Corrado gets it to the near boards. Sestito is tied up by Yakupov. Horvat had it poked free. And Alvarez, stick check there, finally gets it in the zone.
It's a well-played third period, Mark. Lots of really good battles.
Weber has it knocked behind him by Ryan Hamilton. Nice move by Yakupov on Yansova. Yakupov wraparound. It comes right through the goal mouth. And Sestito will send it down the ice to relieve pressure. Here's a race for it. And they're going to let him go. No, now they're going to call it. A little indecision there on this hybrid icing, but an icing call nevertheless.
Oilers had a little better puck movement on this power play. The ever-patient Hemsky right there finds Taylor Hall. Even though Alberts did a great job, Hall can't bury that one. And then Hemsky again finds Yakupov. Can't bury that one. And then the toe drag right here by Eberle that you like so much, Mark. We thought we'd show you that once more because that surely was a thing of beauty.
Eberle has such magical hands.
Yeah.
And we've seen the Oilers display their creative abilities here tonight. But this understarred Vancouver team has been full value. Down one goal here. As we mentioned, all the big names left back in Vancouver for the most part. The Sedins, the Kesslers, the Burrows, the X's, Hamuse, and so on.
Their goalie, Eddie Lack, has had a big say in that. I mean, he's been really good.
Hemsky. Rink wide pass. Here comes Fedun. In front, they score! Ryan Smith shovels it in for Edmonton. That big straight stick, no mistake.
Just when I was talking about Eddie Lack and how well he played, and this one, of course, isn't his fault. This is similar to the second goal that the Oilers scored. This is more of a broken play, and puck is deflected along the way, and that puts Eddie Lack out of position right there, and Ryan Smith, as usual, goes to the front of the net and buries that one right there. That's just desperation by the Vancouver Canucks in trying to block shots, and that's a good, fortunate bounce for the Edmonton Oilers and Ryan Smith.
37-year-old veteran from Banff with his second goal of the preseason. He only had two last year. His offense just disappeared, but he's getting to play on the first line here tonight. Here's Hansen with a chance in front. Yannick Hansen taken off the puck by Petrie. Santorelli trying to make something happen. Acting on him along with Petrie. Petrie to the boards, but not out. Edler waits, fires through traffic. Big rebound from Rimmer, and it's cleared to the near side by Petrie. Eberle tries to go the other way. Waiting for it is Eberle. Or rather Edler across to Tanev. Back to Edler. Edler shot. Big rebound again. They're staring at it. Another chance, and Hansen scores. Big, fat rebound that nobody could clear. And the Danish forward buries it for the Canucks.
It looked almost too easy, too. When he knew that he had the puck right in front, Hansen, he just took his time. And the youngster Rimmer is just learning right here. There's a lot of traffic, so the rebound comes out in front. And right there, Yannick Hansen knew he had so much net right there. That's just a veteran against a rookie.
And a delayed penalty was coming. It looked like Will Acton was going to get a hook in front.
Yeah.
There was a delayed call coming to the Oilers when Hansen put it away to make it a 3-2 Oiler lead with 3:22 to go here in the third. Ryan Hamilton at center, chips it in. Dejar Kara chasing on the forecheck for Edmonton. And it's flipped right back in. Ryan Hamilton hard on the forecheck. Kara in front. It goes off the leg past Yakubov. Fadoon with a deep blast. Here comes Nurse. Another shot right on. Fadoon fires it in behind the Vancouver net. Dejar Kara holding on to the puck. Bouncing it for Ryan Hamilton. Hamilton, another big body, a power type forward. The Oilers are hoping can step up and win a spot here. Kara in front. Chance scores! It's Yakubov! Dale Yakubov reestablishes the Oilers' 2-goal lead. And a little bit of flair after the fact.
And Mark, you're talking about Hamilton and what he brings. This is the kind of hockey you have to play when you're winning 3-2 with under 3 minutes to go. Keep the puck down low. Fire right there finds Yakubov. That's a heck of a shift by Hamilton. That's why you get a guy like that. I mean, that's the way you finish off a game right there. Just keep the other team in the other zone and tire them out.
First of the preseason for Yakubov at 17-27 and a 4-2 Edmonton lead. The Russian twizzling his stick in celebration after the fact. Dejar Kara out of Surrey, BC gets the assist along with Ryan Hamilton. So some big forwards with the Oilers making their presence felt down low as they help set up Yakubov. Castillo, back pass goes into the slot, cleared to the boards by Petrie. Brown chopping at it. Jan Sauvé keeps it in play. Petrie back first along the boards. Flipping it to center. Sauvé back to the line and it's chipped in by Bo Horvat. Petrie losing the edge on the puck, manages to get it to center. And it's dumped back in the Vancouver zone by Smith. Shinkarik jumping on the puck, ahead to the line. Higgins looking for Hansen, stick in the lane by the youngster, Darnell Nurse to break it up. Hemsky pounces on the puck, wide open and a big open net, and Will Acton will finish it off. Keith Acton's son gets an open netter for the Oilers tonight with his dad, Keith, on the bench.
Hemsky just showed so much patience on this play right here. Continues to follow the puck, and his head is always up, and he spots an open Will Acton, and Acton makes no mistake. And tell you what, I'm sure there's a pretty proud father on the bench right now, and Keith.
Cassian has it knocked away by Brad Hunt. Sauvé hammers it back in the zone in the final minute here of the third period. Kara to the right wing. It hops over the stick of Taylor Fadoon. He was lined up by Sauvé. Sidestepped that hit, getting it in deep. Kellen Lane, the big 6'6", 220-pound centerman, can't get it out. It's sent back in by Ryan Jones. Sauvé, a long stretch pass to center. Gantz backhanding it back in the Edmonton zone. Weiss hustling on the forecheck, can't get to the puck. Eberle will hold it, play it off the glass for Ryan Hamilton. Tanev backhanding it to the corner. Eberle Takes a shot there against Edler. Edler holding on to the puck. Gets it to center ice. As the fans salute the home team here tonight in the final seconds. Edmonton prevailing for the second game in a row against the Canucks, albeit a young Vancouver team without their stars. 5-2 final here tonight, Edmonton.
It's a well-played game, Mark. I was really impressed with both sides. Thought they showed their skill level at times. They showed their battle, and congratulations to Ty Rimmer. Wonderful effort by Ty. He ended up facing 11 shots and only giving up 1 goal, so good effort by the youngster.
So Rimmer savors this moment as the Oilers salute their fans. And a 5-2 win tonight over Vancouver.